Okay, I'm sitting here doing in the same sitting as the last one, but again, end of Earthbound. So one interesting thing that you'll note about it is that there's a lot, like when you're finishing off Gigas, you have hit a certain point where it's like you can't really kill him. The only thing you literally have to rely on is prayer. And it's interesting because when everything else is like soaked up and we can't do anything else, where do we go to? The mantra, there are no atheists in foxholes, comes to mind. And that when you've hit your last limit, where do you turn to? Do you turn to prayer? Most people would. And the sentiment behind there aren't any atheists in foxholes is that when you're being shelled and you're on the hell's doorstep, is more than likely you're gonna like pray or turn to some god for help because there's nothing else you can literally do. And as you look and go through the different rounds of prayer in Earthbound, you notice that you have Paula with you the whole time. She's had prayer, like the option to pray the whole time, but you notice that in this particular fight that like each time she prays, once you hit that point, groups of people are rippled by that prayer into praying themselves for the safety of their friends, their children, and their family. And you have to go through multiple points in that, and those prayers cause damage to Gigas. And for anyone of faith that way, prayer is not just something that we use as a last resort, or we shouldn't, but it's something that we can use to help us through any endeavor that we're going through. We petition God or the Creator to help us in our endeavors and to help us in our successes in our life. We can pour out our hearts for the things that we're grateful for the troubles that we're having, and ask for help. And it's that help that's valuable. I know some people are like, well, thoughts and prayers really don't do much right now when like things are doing this, that, and the other, but thoughts and prayers in a lot of ways are a symbol of the hope that people have, and it can give hope to others when in the least they're in their thoughts, because when you're halfway around the world from an event, how else are you going to be able to help people other than like letting other people know about it? That's one manifestation of like thoughts and prayers, is like you're in our thoughts. I'm telling the world about like what's going on. If I'm across the country from someone that's having a problem, then the least I can do is make other people aware of that. If I can't give any money or anything to their cause, then I can make their cause known. That's a thought from me that is transferred to other people. When I pray at church, that's a prayer and a thought that makes more people aware of that thing. And I think sometimes some people downplay that thoughts and prayers can have more power than we may think. When you look at the example in Earthbound, you notice each time that a prayer is made, that another group of people is affected. There's another ripple that people feel that makes them pray as well in unison. And it's something that we can all it's a unifying force when you have a lot of people praying together. I mean, so in the area where I live, it's a farming community, and one of the dams, or one of the canals basically had broke. And so what that means is there were a bunch of farmers, like, I don't know how many, that aren't going to be able to get water from irrigation this year. And so what had happened is our church area authorities had encouraged everyone to fast and pray so that they could have, for rain, so that they could have the water that they needed in order to provide a way to water the crops that they have, that they need, that basically provide their living for them and everything else. Because whether it be hay or corn or anything, that gets sold, and then they usually live off of that for the rest of the year when they can't grow anything else. And so since that time, we've had a day or two where it's just rained like every 2 weeks for the last couple of months. And it's like been about right at the 2-week mark when it starts raining again, when we get another rainy day. And it's been a miracle for those farmers, I'm sure, because I've noticed that it is pretty soaking and that it's pretty heavy. It comes off and on throughout the day, and it usually rains pretty hard. I mean, the first couple times the power went out on us, but I think the power companies finally figured that out. But when you talk to, even many motivational speakers will tell you that, like, there's a power in prayer, whether you believe in a higher power of the universe or whatever, that when you send that petition, that thought, that it has a reverberating action as you continue to have faith on that thought and that petition, then things happen. And there are certain, you could put them as laws that govern that, but yeah, so thoughts and prayers may, as much as people like to say that they're meaningless, there's a lot more meaning to them than those people may think. I mean, people are like, well, I'm sending hugs your way. It's like, that doesn't make people feel good. Like, if I were there, I would help you. I mean, that should give everyone a little hope that there are people looking out for them. So yeah. Earthbound. Bunch of thinking material.